Afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Carla from Rehan, Allahwala's World of Connections. And tonight I have such an honor to speak with Ernesto Sirolli. He'll correct me later. I probably did not get it right. I haven't been getting it right for the past few weeks since I've met him. He's a wonderful man who has done several TEDx talks, and he's quite funny and he's very relaxed. And I'm just really excited to speak with him. I want to remind you that this show, like all of my shows, is sponsored by the Institute of Peace, which is an online organization promoting peace one conversation at a time. Ernesto, can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Carla. My name is Ernesto Sirolli. Born in Italy, spent nearly 20 years in Australia, 25 years in California, where I am now. And I'm based in California. Right now I'm visiting Italy, but I'm based in Sacramento, California. And I also spent 11 years of my life living and working in various African countries. As a young boy, I lived for 3 years in Libya, where my father was the head of radiology at the Benghazi General Hospital. And I therefore lived and went to school in Libya. I studied Arabic as a child, and I was exposed to a very multicultural environment where my friends were from every conceivable country in the Mediterranean. And then I also worked for 6 years for the Italian Foreign Office in various African countries, Kenya, Zambia, Ivory Coast, Algeria, Somalia, in programs of technical cooperation. So I consider myself a pretty international man. I'm married to an Australian woman. We have children in Australia, Italy, Spain, and the United States. And we have an international group of friends. So we like to tell that when we travel, we arrive in places where we have lived, we know places, we do not get lost in cities in Guatemala or Mexico or in Uganda or in Tanzania or in Nepal or in Bangladesh or in Australia or in New Zealand. We worked in 20 countries, in 4 continents. We have worked in 400 communities, and we have helped to start some 55,000 businesses in the world without ever telling people what to do, but simply how to do it. We have an organization that is a social enterprise that teaches to leaders, to corporations, how to employ local enterprise facilitators who then, employed by the government or by the corporation or by the non-profit, this enterprise facilitator give a free, confidential, competent service to any local entrepreneur who has a passion and wants to transform a talent into a way of making a living. We've been doing this for 40 years and written a couple of books about it. I did my doctorate, my PhD on the subject of enterprise facilitation. And In 2012, I gave a TED talk that was picked up by the TED organization, and they put us on the main TED site. And that TED talk has been translated in 35 languages and has had 4 million viewers. And so we receive calls from very strange people, including Carla, saying, "Who are you? What do you do?" And talk to me. And so here I am. It's 10:30 at night. In an hour and a half will be my birthday. So I'm spending my birthday with Carla probably. And I'm delighted to be here. And I'm delighted to answer all your questions, Carla.
I am so delighted to be able to talk to you. Ever since I saw your first TED Talk, I've been absolutely excited to talk to you. And I want to thank you for the honor of giving me your time. We were talking before we got online, and we were talking about starting a business. Now, is that your big business that you do now, or is there something else you also do?
The basis of the business of the Sirolli Institute, International Enterprise Facilitation, the basis of the Institute is to promote, is to train, is to demonstrate the power of development, both social and economic development, done in response to people requests. For too long, non-profits, international aid organizations, governments tend to conceive a program, an intervention on how to develop a community or a country or how to develop people. And so what they do, they think about what will work, and then they come and uninvited, they superimpose their idea onto the local people. And this is the way international aid is done, where a philanthropist decides that one good thing would be, for instance, to help people with whatever, education or health or money or technology. And so they fall in love with their own thoughts. And then they come and they get pretty upset when the local people do not receive them with open arms. And they say, how come? We are so kind, we are so generous, we arrive with this money. And what the local people do, the local people take the money, but as soon as the money ends, they go back to do exactly what they were doing before. So your charitable, your idea of how to improve the lives of people only lasts the money that you have to give them. But what happened in our experience is that this kind of way of doing development is patronizing or paternalistic. In other words, we think that we know better than the local people. That's why we arrive uninvited with our own ideas, because we think that we are superior, that we're smarter. We think that we have a better technology. We think that we have better culture. Some of us think that we even have a better God than the God of the local people. And what we discovered 40 years ago is that this kind of approach is incredibly arrogant, is disempower people. They will use your money, but as soon as you go away, they go back to do what they love to do. And so you haven't achieved anything. So 40 years ago, I became interested in the concept of development in response, where what you do, you only go where they invite you. you do beautiful work in your own backyard. When the word spreads around, and when you go to conferences to talk about what you do in a very respectful way, helping people to do what they want, then people invite you. And when you arrive in the foreign country, you arrive as an invited guest, and you sit with the local people to say, what did you call me? And the local people say, because we have our own ideas, what we really need here. And then you say, how can I help you? Would you like me to help you? And then what you do, you become a servant of their intelligence. You become someone who helps them to do what they have thought about, what they wish to do. And so what we teach is that the very first principle of aid is respect. You cannot tell people, you cannot arrive uninvited in other people's home. It's not proper. How can we do that all the time? How can we arrive uninvited where we think that, they may need us? Just, that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is that you go where invited. You wait to be invited inside the house. When you arrive inside the house as their guest, you listen to them and you ask them, why did you invite me? Oh, because we have heard that you do this phenomenal work in communities. Can you help us? And you say, sure, that I can. But what is your dream? And our dream is, to have more entrepreneurs, to have more activity, to have more, to have better people who can grow, can become beautiful, they can take care of their own communities. And then, you respond. So, it's, I've been on a journey, it's a 40 years journey, those 400 communities where we have worked because they have invited us. We have trained local people who live in those communities to shut up and listen. And by the way, the title of that famous TED Talk that you referred to, Carla, the title is Shut Up and Listen. If you really want to help somebody, shut up and listen. Because people are intelligent, people are smart. And as soon as you create a friendly, relaxed, confidential, one-on-one conversation, which is, by the way, so part of your message. You're talking about conversations for peace. The moment you establish a friendly, relaxed, confidential conversation, people open up and they tell you what the dreams are. And as soon as you know what the dreams are, it's so easy to help people to say, have you ever thought about finding somebody that can market your idea, that can market your product? Do you understand that you need to find these people to help you? And so this was something that we touched before this interview online. But yes, we are fascinated with people, with the intelligence that we find everywhere. And we work in 4 continents, in some very, very poor communities. And it doesn't matter, because no matter whether the community is poor or rich, you find intelligence, passion, creativity, energy, self-motivation, and ultimately you find beauty. And beauty is, like Dostoevsky said, and he wrote, we will only be saved by beauty. And the beauty that he was talking about was not aesthetical beauty, it was the beauty of the human soul. Only beauty will save us. I believe in that.
Now, many people not only do not know what they have to give, let alone find people to help them. How do you begin helping people find, hey, you're really an artist. Look at what you can give.
Yeah, different. Yeah, what happens is that there are people who have lost themselves. You see, what happens is that you cannot teach passion, but you can destroy passion in people. If from the age of 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, every time you take an initiative, your mother will say, "Oh, don't be stupid." If every time a woman does something that a man punishes, every time a man says something as a teenager, the parents say, "Oh, no, you know, don't try to do something that's never been done before here. Just conform and do what we have done." What happens is that after a while, that boy, that girl will lose their passion. And then what they will do, they will conform. They will conform and they will start to do what the parents tell them to do until the day when they will not be able to sleep anymore. Because every time they close their eyes, they see that they are missing life itself, that their life is not theirs. And they feel this absolutely terrible, terrible void. And there is a voice inside of them that is screaming for fulfillment. So, if you're an artist and you're not doing art, if you're a painter who's not painting, your mind, you will be basically, you will be punished for your inability of becoming. It's like you are a rose and you don't grow to become a rose. If you are a rose and you don't grow to become a full specimen of a rose, you will suffer terribly. If you're a cauliflower, you will suffer terribly not to become a fully beautiful specimen of cauliflower. We're all different, but we all scream for fulfillment. We need to become the person that we are. So, the psychologists that I belong to, humanistic psychology, they say that if you fail to become, what happens is that your soul dies. And after your soul dies, then your body will follow. So we have a moral imperative, all of us in every religion. We have the moral imperative to become the beautiful person that God made us. And, I taught in Muslim universities in Surabaya, and I told them to the students, and the president of the university and the board of the advisor of the university, they wanted to have a private meeting with me. And after the private meeting with me, they said, "We really appreciated what you said to the students about becoming the person that you were born to be, because that's what the Quran teaches." And then I gave a presentation in Baha'i came to see me, and he put the hands on my head and he gave me a blessing in Hebrew, saying, "Are you going around the world to teach people to become, transform their gifts into a way to make a living?" And he gave me a Hebrew blessing. And of course, the Christians, they have the parable of the talents. The Lord gave three brothers a gold talent each. And then he went away. And when he came back, he asked the three brothers what they had done with their talent. And one had invested the talent and had made lots of money, and the Lord was glad. And the other one had done everything possible to try to invest the talent, but he had lost the talent. But the Lord was equally pleased because he had tried. The third brother had buried the talent. He was too scared to utilize it. And the Lord was very angry. And he kicked out of the kingdom. "I have given you a talent and you have to use it. So in every religion, in every culture, we are called to become the wonderful man, the wonderful woman that we are. And failure to do that, failure to try to return to the world the gifts that have been given to us, that failure is a failure that will truly upset us. That's a failure that will stay with us forever. Because we have not had the guts, we have not trusted life with the talents that have been given to us.
So I do believe that everyone has a talent to give to the world. How would you suggest people find out what their talent is?
Go back in your mind to when you were 9. When you were 9 years old, before you were socialized, go back and who were you when you were 9? Did you play with ideas, words, animals, objects? Did you build little castles in the sand? Where did you actually, did you keep a diary? Were you writing poetry? Who were you when you were 9? And I really think it's very, very important, because before you were socialized, you were you were you, absolutely yourself. Did you play with lots of kids? Were you a leader? Were you a follower? Who were you when you were 9? I think it's very, very important for people to remember those times, because that's you. That's you. Before the parents convince you to be something else. And when I ask this question to my friends who come to me for help, they get these absolute revelations. And they said, oh my God, the thing that I absolutely love, I was a social butterfly. I made friends everywhere. I was the most social person. People adored me. I adored everybody. And they said, where has the person gone? What have I done with that gift of being able to get everybody to smile? And there are some people say, oh my God, Ernesto, all my life, the things that have come out beautifully were things that as a 9 years old, I love to do. So yes, go back, meditate, go sit by your preferred mountaintop, sit by a beach, sit under a tree, and try to recall that girl, that boy. Because you could find that, oh my God, all my life I've been trying without knowing. I've been trying to embody those gifts that I was given.
If that's true, and I believe it is, but I'm playing devil's advocate now, why do people have trouble finding themselves? Because they were already themselves. The stress of the world.
Yeah, because because people have destroyed the little boy in us, the little girl in us. They have destroyed it. You know, you go to school, and school is the first acculturation process, where now you have to learn all the social norms. Now you have to stop playing. You have to apply yourself. And in school, what happened is that, let's imagine that Carla in school, she was absolutely phenomenal at English, and she wrote the most beautiful essay, and she had the most creative fantasy. And every time there was something to do with language, Carla was brilliant. And let's imagine now that Carla would spend all day on English reading fantastic books, becoming very good at writing English. And now let's say that Carla failed every other topic: maths, French, gymnastics. Carla was only good at English. What would happen is that the teacher and the parents would say, stop writing English, stop writing your diary, stop wasting all your time reading books, because you have to learn maths, you have to learn Greek, Latin, you have to learn another language, geography, physics, you have to do sport. And so what will happen to Carla is that Carla, who was the best, she was she was the most exquisite writer as a 9 years old, with possibly a life of writing in front of her. She's been told, no, you have to pass every subject. So passing every subject means that Carla would become mediocre at every subject, including English, because she would not be allowed. She will not be allowed to do only what she loved. She will have to learn to do everything. So we have a school system that creates a mediocrity. And then once you are a mediocre kid with an average B or an average C, then you have the choice to go to a university where, again, they will tell you what is important to them, not to you. And what we discover is that the people who are truly extraordinary, successful people are the rebels, because the rebels have decided that they're only going to do what they are good at. And so they become exquisite.
Knowing that, why is it that we forget? I mean, I know that when I was a kid, I would love to do this. And everything was destroyed by people saying, no, you can't do this. Absolutely. It'll never bring you money.
Absolutely.
And even now I look at what's going on, and the money isn't important. What's important is that I'm helping others.
Absolutely. So, what happens is that if your nature is the one of being a teacher, you have to teach. And if you don't teach, you die. So you have to teach. And what I speak to when the people come to me to say, how can I make a living teaching? I laugh. I said, imagine how many billion people want to learn. So what's stopping you? What's stopping a teacher? It's just finding the pupils, finding the people who want to learn. And so what I explain is that a teacher needs help, needs somebody who finds pupils. Somebody who's not a teacher, somebody who loves to speak to everybody, loves to set up websites and starts to promote the idea that there is a teacher here who wants to teach this subject. So, you organize to find someone that loves social media, that loves communication, and you find someone who can reach hundreds, thousands, millions of people and spread the message. I know people who want to teach this kind of subjects. Are you interested in learning? And right now, there are millions of people who work online teaching every subject. So for me, it's a question of breaking the solitude of your passion and getting your matching passions with people who love to market your idea and keep the finance for your operation. And we believe in the power of three: product, marketing, finance. Product, marketing, finance have to be done by three passionate people with different characters, with different passions. And the successful entrepreneurs do only what they love to do, but they surround themselves with the people who can do beautifully what she hates doing, what she doesn't care doing. So we form teams. We teach the business the way to transform your passion, your talent into a way of making a living is for you to surround yourself with people different from you, with different personalities who love to do different things. But the basis is product marketing finance. And I told you before, we never met anybody who can do these three things equally well. There is no written evidence of any entrepreneur in the world who can do it, sell it, and look after the money. Never existed. Not Steve Jobs, not Bill Gates, not Richard Branson, not Carnegie, not Westinghouse, not Edison. Nobody could do these three things equally well.
And if that's true, how do we find our teams?
You find your team, first of all, by understanding who you are. You have to understand who you are first. You cannot find, you should never ask to be supported by someone else if you do not know yourself first. First, you have to understand, am I product, marketing, or finance? If I could only do what I love to do in my company, would I take care of the product? Would I take care of marketing, or would I take care of finance? If I could only do what I love, which one would I do for the rest of my life in my company? Once you can answer that question, you will then answer and you will know I'm a product person, or I'm a marketer, or I'm a financial manager. Then as soon as you know who you are, you know what you lack. So if you decide that you are a product person, that you are the teacher who loves to teach, that is your product is that, then you are looking for a marketer and a financial manager. The moment that you know that you need a marketer, what you do, you go to a place full of marketers to say, do you have a friend who right now is unemployed? So you go where the marketers exist. So you go to any company that is successful as a marketer. So you ask your friends, who is the smartest marketer you have ever met? Where is it? May I speak to him? May I speak to her? And you ask a marketer to say, okay, you marketers know each other. Do you know somebody who is been right now marketing classes of English? Do you know any marketer who right now is marketing whatever you need? And then you start to interview people and you start to say, when you are selling technical products, you are selling computers to companies, you know lots of companies. Do you know whether some of these companies require for their personnel to learn English better? And you discover that people who know corporation, they say, I can ask. Then you discover that this is an American corporation which just has opened up an office in Pakistan, and they need to have all the staff trained in English. So there are 1 million ways to form a team, 1 million, billions of ways to organize yourself to be able to transform your own talent into a business. But it's a team sport. It's not, you cannot do it alone. It's a business, it's a team sport, product marketing finance. There's no business that can do without it.
This is so fascinating. I'd love to do a series on it. I know myself, I'm a talker. Rehan will say you talk too much. But I also love listening. Mm-hmm. And as I grow in what I'm doing, I am finding most people do not listen. How can we train people to learn the importance of using our ears?
Well, one of the most important things that I've discovered, when my talk came out in 2012 was that I don't know, thousands of people have told me that in their industry, the lack of ability to listen is actually destroy them, because they keep pushing for what they want to do. They want to sell. Then they never really listen to what people want to buy. So my TED Talk is considered one of the 5 best TED Talks ever for salespeople, because salespeople make the terrible mistake to try to push what their company want to sell. And what happened is that they never listen to what the market is telling them. They could have picked up that the market has changed, and they are selling, making such an effort to push a product that the market doesn't need and doesn't want anymore. Because they never listen, they never go back to headquarters to say they don't want they don't want optical cameras anymore. They want digital cameras. And we're still making mechanical cameras, you know. We make these beautiful Canon camera, Nikon cameras. They don't want the camera with the film in it. The market has changed. And Kodak people were keep pushing Kodak film. The market was changing. But the sellers of Kodaks were selling Kodaks until the market disappeared in front of their eyes. How is it possible that you don't listen to what the market signals are saying? It's because you never listen to what the customers say. So what we teach is you knock a door and you say, would you like to buy our cheese? And the little old lady says, no. Well, the incompetent salesperson, when received the no, said, okay, bye-bye. But the competent salesperson will say, no is the beginning of the conversation. And he will ask, why not? And the lady will say, because I am lactose intolerant. And the salesman says, so can you eat goat cheese? And the lady said, that's the only cheese that I eat. Would you buy goat cheese from us? And she says, of course I will buy goat cheese from you, because I'm intolerant to bovine milk, but I can. So the no is the beginning of the question. The moment that the person says no, you should ask why not, and then listen very carefully to what she's telling you, because then you can go back into the factory to say, you see, you want me to sell them sport equipment, but then when I heard her describe the sport equipment, I'm discovering that the sports equipment is not elegant enough, because she spends lots of time doing outdoor activities and she wants to look good. She doesn't want baggy, tracksuit pants. She wants something stylish.
I'm okay. I'm just sneezing.
So, what I'm saying is that the good salesperson asks, why not? Or what do you need? And then comes back to the factory to say, why don't we do some real smart, very good looking, sports gear? Why don't we do something that is attractive? Because people want to look good when they do sport. So I think that listening is absolutely essential, and listening is absolutely the essence of politics, Listening is the essence of commerce. Listening is imagining a relationship. What is the importance of listening to another person in a relationship? So, I thought that my speech, shut up and listen, was maybe targeted to international aid organizations, but they were the least interested. The people came to me were people in business, in sales, corporations, people who are not listening to their employees, people who are not listening to their spouses, people who are not listening to entrepreneurs. It's been a revelation to me how many people were slapped in the face by the title, Shut Up and Listen. The title of my TED Talk, Shut Up and Listen, if you want to help somebody, shut up and listen, was very provocative, very provocative.
I absolutely loved it, because I'm every day saying to people who want to converse in English, hey guys, are you listening? Because I'll ask a question and they'll start talking about something that I don't know where it came from. Mm-hmm. And it's because we don't listen. It's also because we don't ask, do you understand what I said?
Sure.
And that happens all over the world. I don't want to pretend I understand, or I want to pretend I understand, but I didn't understand a word you said. And it becomes very frustrating for everyone. How do you think we can change this so people begin listening more than talking? And that includes myself.
My recommendation would be that you try the next time you have a meeting with anybody, you try to force yourself to listening to understand the other person's point instead of listening to respond. There is an aggressive listening where I am listening to you but while I'm listening to you, I am preparing how to attack you. So I'm not listening to you. What I'm doing, I am building my rebut. I am building the case to shoot you down. I'm not listening to you. I already know you are not going to change my opinion. I want to just prepare my speech. My silence is not, I am not listening to you. In my mind, I am working the answer. So a good discipline will be the one to say, okay, I am not listening to prepare a rebuttal. I am listening to this person. I'm listening to this person. And at the end of it, that I've listened, then I will take few seconds to process what I heard. So there is an art to listening, and the art to listening is, I call it, you listen with your entire body. You listen, you are concentrating on the person, you watch her, you watch everything, you listen to the words, you also look at her face, where she's looking at, and then you try to understand the person in front of you to the point that you are not prepared to offer anything. You need to actually take some seconds to say, okay, this is what I understood that she was trying to tell me. And then you start to talk to say, am I correct that you were trying to tell me this? Listen, and then tell the person that was in front of you, did you really say that? Do you mean that? And you should see the effect. People are transfixed by someone who is making an attempt to understand them. And you can transform an hostile relationship just with this kind of attitude. So you have a person that expects you to be aggressive and you are not aggressive. What you do, you listen, listen, listen. And then when he finishes telling you, you then say, am I correct that you said all these things? You are really thinking about, am I correct? And people are just blown away to say, oh my God, you were listening to me. You really understood what I was trying to say. So there is an active listening that is a phenomenal tool in conversation, in a argument, in a dispute. You just listen carefully to what the person is saying. And then what you do, you try to find where is in all this, where is the beauty? Is this person, all people are beautiful. If they're showing me all the negative side, what are they hiding? Why are they so aggressive? Only yesterday, I was in a situation where somebody was pretty aggressive in a conversation with us, and so what I did was I offered to do some work with this person, just the two of us, to have a task and to work together. We started to do something together. As soon as I said, I'm prepared to work with you on this, it was like this silence. The person says, oh, I have not been, being aggressive, my being rough, not only has not scared this person actually wants to work with me. Do you know that the moment that with this very aggressive person, I offered to do some work with her, the attitude disappeared and we had the most amazing working relationship. So sometimes you listen and you watch and you try to find the beauty. And if the beauty is hiding, why is this person hiding her beauty? Why isn't showing me what the real passion is here? Because, oh my God, if you can really put your finger on what they really love and why they are so aggressive, maybe they are aggressive because they think that you are one of those people who are destroying, the world, maybe they think that you are the enemy, and maybe they think that everybody is the enemy. And you just listen to them, you try to find their love. And then the moment that you find it, you say, but you said that, do you mean that you love people? Carla, is it true that you have this massive love for people and all your organization is about this dream of peace through communication? Carla, where does it come from? Where is your love coming from, Carla? And the moment you see, the moment you go there to say, what is the driving force of all this energy that you put towards communication? What is behind it?
I think it was there when I was a child.
I am sure.
I remember wanting
I'm
to see
sure.
peace in the world. And
I
I
am
thought
sure.
unless we talked, there would be no peace.
Absolutely. And also, where does this love for multiculturalism come from? Where is your openness come from? How come you're talking about international relations all the time? That's beautiful. Where does it come from? Is not many people want to meet the strangers, the foreigners. Not many people feel comfortable having a conversation with somebody from another country, another religion, another culture. So where does it come from? Where is your love coming from?
Do you want me? I'll answer.
Yeah, yes.
It
Because
started
I
as
see it. I know that is. I know that all of that you project and all that you say and the way you say is demonstrating that. So tell
it
me, where does it come
it
from?
okay. It started as a child also. I mean, I grew up with all different people. I was Jewish. My parents had an orthodontist office about 20 minutes away. We had, and I hate to say it now, but we had a Black lady who took care of me. So that right there took me out of the Jewish environment. Our neighborhood was very multicultural. And I remember going on Christmas, going to my neighbor's house across the street to get a candy cane. That was the big treat about Christmas for me.
Yeah,
So, I grew up in this multicultural environment. And basically, I was an only child because my sister and brother were 9 and 10 years older than me.
yeah, yeah. I can see it. I can see it. I could have absolutely. I could have described your childhood. There is one thing that I'd like you to know is that when I told you that I lived in Libya in a very multicultural environment. The oil had been discovered in Libya, so the French, the oil companies, the American, the English, the French were there, but we had Turks, Greeks, Armenians, Maltese, Lebanese, Egyptians, Turks, Saudi, and uh, I went to a school that was a school for foreigners. So my class of 37 kids were every conceivable country, but I have two best friends. And my two best friends, one was a Palestinian and the other one was a Jew. And the two best friends of mine never spoke to each other. And the three of us were inseparable. And the Jewish kids will say, let's go to the movies. I'll say to the Palestinian guys, let's go to the movies. The three of us, we had three bicycles and we were always together. Always. And that was the glue. I was the glue between the Palestinian and the Jew. And I was invited in the houses. The parents loved me, so I would go to the Palestinian house and I would go to the Jewish house. And I was accepted. And I was 9. I could not understand why they would not talk to each other, but didn't matter because we loved each other. They just culturally, they for their customs, they couldn't talk to each other, but it didn't matter because we were always together and we did everything together. So these are things that they leave a very, very important imprint in you. One of my dearest friends in the school was a Libyan called Husni Ben Husni. And Husni Ben Husni, I saw a picture of all of us at the beach. It was a school outing. And there was a picture of the 30 of us on a beach in Libya in 1959. And for the first time, years later, when I saw the picture of Husni next to me, Husni was black. But I have zero recollection of Husni being black. Zero. Absolutely, I never saw that he was black because it was my friend Husni. We were all the same. Only when I saw a black and white picture 20 years later, I realized that Husni was a black Libyan. So, this is the environment I grew up in. It makes it much easier for me to recognize the humanity of everybody where I go anywhere. I believe that, when you scratch the surface, we all bleed the same. I believe that you treat pneumonia in the same way, no matter which religion are you. Pneumonia, you treat like pneumonia because we all humans. We all made of blood and flesh, and we all suffer.
And even deeper, we all breathe the same air.
And we
No
have the
matter
same
what, whether
molecules, and
you're
we are made of the same molecules, and the same molecules have been recycled for the last, a million years. And probably inside of us, there are the molecules from your brother, your mother. The same molecule from your ancestors are in my body. So I really think that peace through communication, but peace also through listening, because the moment that you really get to the humanity of the person in front of you, then you know what they say to the soldiers is that don't look at your enemy in the eye because you will not be able to shoot him. If you look at your enemy in the eye, you're not going to be able to shoot him because you recognize your brother. So never look in the eye of the person that you want to murder. That's why they bandage the people to be shot, not because it's good for him. They bandage it because it's good for the people shooting at the prisoner. In the, in a when they used to shoot people as a way of killing the condemned to death, they would bandage their eyes because it was too much for the people shooting at somebody to watch, to look in the eyes, because then you recognize yourself.
which is actually taking another step. It's the creator who created us.
Yeah, you then create look at some in the eyes, and you recognize that the common humanness, and you recognize where we come from. The other thing is that the anthropologists, they say that actually once we all belong to one ancient tribe, all of us, we come from the same family, all of us, because you can trace the maternal DNA of all of us to one woman who lived 2 million years ago. So imagine that we all have one common ancestor. So no, in terms of international work, it truly helps to come from a background where you have experienced diversity in childhood. Because if you have been hugged and cared for by a Muslim woman who has hugged you as a 9 years old and fed you couscous or taken you offer you some fantastic Arabic cake because you were a kid, and she demonstrate affection to you that way, how can you then not feel when you meet a Muslim woman that she's like your aunt? That how can you not feel that way? And so yeah, I think is we should, if there is one thing that we should do, when you were saying how can you facilitate this kind of listening, I think it would be very, very good to expose kids to cultural diversity very early on. but not only in a kind of institutional setting. I don't think that a school will do. I think that you have to create opportunities for kids to travel. You have to offer opportunities for them to have guests from other countries. I think it would be very good to open their mind to the common humanness.
Well, I know as a child, I had that opportunity. And then I look at other children who haven't had it and they don't know. They don't know the world is a garden of
With a bit of luck,
diversity.
with a bit of luck, they will fall in love with somebody from another distant tribe. Remember that genetically we are attracted by people who come from very distant tribes. I was once in a retreat. The retreat was in Austria, in Salzburg, and was organized by the Kellogg Foundation. The Kellogg Foundation organized a retreat for some 55 people from 30 different countries, and we were all set up for a week in a castle, in a Schloss, what they call Schloss, a castle in Austria, in Salzburg. And all these people from all over the world, we would, at the end of work, we would, downstairs, there was a beer hall, and we would meet and we will tell jokes and we will drink beer and we will socialize. And so one night, I excluded myself from the experiment, but I challenged everybody to tell in public who were they attracted to, from which country, to see whether it was true that people are truly attractive to people who are their opposite. And it was the most amazing night of laughter and screaming. It was absolutely true. And you had the Swedes who were attracted by the Egyptians, and you had across the globe, you had the most amazing, the blondes attracted by the dark, the differences were the geographic, there was a kind of a map of human attraction, and it was the opposite, and it was magnificent. And these were people who had, there were 50 people who had been working together for a week, and they had the guts to express it. And it was the most revealing. And it was all this stuff, And genetically, as you know, is people from distant tribes who create the most beautiful kids, because the danger genetically is when you have overbreeding, inbreeding. So you need to break it. You need to find new genes who come from very distant tribes. And so this is my hope for humanity, that we understand that to have beautiful children, you have to genetically dare to find somebody who's very different from you.
Is it very different, or is it just someone who may be interested in diversity? Because really there's universality in all diversity.
There is universality, but there is some genetically, you get that it's a law of attraction. And what I was interested in, is it true that you get attracted to people who are very different from you, from your race? Is it true? And if it's true, what are the implications? And the implication is very healthy, because if it's true, then you get attracted by people from distant tribes. It means that your DNA has the possibility of rejuvenate. So, you know what happens if you get two sets of cousins marry. You marry your cousin, and then you get your kids to marry another cousin. Is incredibly dangerous. And remember the history of the royal families of Europe. The royal families started to intermarry between royal families. And after a while, you start to develop these horrible blood diseases because they were inbred. You know what happened with the royal families of Europe. But any geneticist can tell you that it's incredibly dangerous to keep inbreeding among people who are very keen, very close to each other genetically. So my hope is that there is a message there, and the message there is look at the way nature works, and look at this. Laws of attractions are your unconscious body getting attracted to something you don't know even why you're attracted. And so this is, is very, to me, is extraordinary to say, wow, beyond culture, beyond religion, beyond, you get attracted to someone, whether then, that is so different from you. Why? Because that's healthy. Genetically, it's healthy. And so it's life supporting. And so, I have enormous hopes for the future of this world. I have hope for the human race. I think that the only constant, the real constant in humanity is being intelligence. The only constant is the intelligence. Look at look at the difficulty. Look at what the human race has endured so far. And we never had it this good. I believe in what Barack Obama asked. He said, if you could be reincarnated, in which historical era would you rather be born in? Because if you really know something about history, oh my God, you don't want to be born in most other centuries. There were rough times, rough people. And we never had it this good in the world. So technologically, in terms of culture, education, health, we never had it this good. People used to die age 40 just a century ago. Child mortality was obscene compared to today. So it's true, we are progressing as a human race, and people say, no, it's not true. They haven't studied history properly. If you think that, we are rough and we are horrible people, you should just look at the way Ivan the Terrible killed his son. The way Ivan the Terrible killed his son was to set up a stage and then invite all the people of his court to come every day for 40 days. And it took 40 days to kill his son. He made sure that he would not die every day for 40 days. And he obliged the court to watch it. You think that we're rough now? That our times are bad? History, just looking back at what has happened, 50 years ago, is horrifying. So
it's amazing. I mean, it's just so interesting. We may be having someone join us in a moment, although I was going to say to you that we've been talking for a while. Sending the link now, and we'll see someone you'd like to talk to. Or I wouldn't be, I really
Okay, it's
would
what?
like.
It's my birthday surprise.
It's going to be a surprise because he just asked me where were we, and I just sent him the link. So we've been talking a lot longer, and I don't know how tired you are now.
Well, I'm just about to say bye-bye to you. So let's wait for whoever is joining us so that I can say a few words. But we've been
Yeah.
talking for a long time, and I think that even the audience must be really tired to listen to
Well,
my.
I also, I'm fascinated. Fascinated. I hope you realize that. I also have a show called Mindful with Carla and Friends, and basically we discuss these things about expanding the mind. I
Yeah.
would really, really like to invite you as a panelist for the show. Not on a regular basis, every once in a while.
Listen, when the stars will align again, we'll do it. Stay in touch and give me dates of possible and possible times. And if I can, I will do it. I think it's very, very important to use our gifts. And my gift is to communicate and to tell stories and to then help people to become the best person that they can possibly be. Um, our programs are transformative, transformational. Today we've seen two videos of two very young people in South Africa, in Eswatini, who our enterprise facilitators have helped to start their own businesses and to do what they love to do and to start to make a living by doing beautifully what they love to do. And my wife and I, we were in tears because the moment you see someone being able to transform her own dream into reality, and she send you a video to acknowledge what how important this knowledge, this simple knowledge of how you establish a business, how important this knowledge was for him and her. It's very rewarding. So yeah, we like to talk to advocate shut up, listening, respectful, recognizing human intelligence, and we love to do that.
Actually, we have been talking over an hour. And then a half hour before we even started. I don't have the heart to keep you any longer, but maybe we could do a series. I just want to talk to you again. I find you so fascinating.
You just get in touch, and let's see also if there is some appetite. It's only whether it is a private conversation between me and you, or whether there are people out there who are enjoying this conversation as well. You let me know, and let's stay in touch. Okay.
Okay.
Let's stay in touch, and let's see what kind of reaction we get. Maybe we get some comments to say both of you are lunatics, and we don't want to listen to this.
Well, we've got
Maybe.
3 comments, and one is keep up the good work. We have someone saying great talk, and someone else saying excellent session. So we don't have a lot of people who have watched the whole time. We'll know more when we go offline. But
okay. Well, if you think that there is some merit in having these conversations, you let us know. And if there is a time where that you would like to do something else, let me know. And if it's at all possible, I will do it. So, there's no need to make these huge commitments and promises. Let's see what happens, okay?
I just wanted to throw out the idea, and I wanted to do it live, because if I did it live, I may have a chance of getting you back.
Let's see. Let's see what happens, okay? So nobody's joining us. Can we say bye-bye now, or?
Yeah, I was going to suggest that. And
Okay.
I wanted to ask you, do you want to leave our audience with any words of wisdom?
Yeah, I really think that everything changes the moment you start to look at people like beautiful and intelligent people. Everything changes. Because then even if they are rude, if they are not even expressing the beauty, then you are curious to know, what would it take for this person to smile? What would it take for this person to tell me what she's drinking and what she's dreaming about? Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm not capable to put her at ease. Maybe it's me. I am coming up as aggressive. So the moment that you start to think of people as beautiful, full of potential, then you develop empathy. And empathy is amazing because, oh my God, the moment that you can see someone and imagine what it would be like to be them, to be in there, capable of imagining walking in somebody's shoes, it's a great gift. So yeah, play with this concept. Next time you are in front of someone, imagine this someone like someone who's hiding his beauty, her beauty, and then think about, how can I reveal it? How I can get this person to smile, how I can get this person to relax, how can I get this person to feel at ease with me? Maybe I can do something about it. And the moment you start to practice that, oh my, the revelation that you get, the revelation that you get, the ability to, joke, trusting the intelligence of this person. It's like I've been telling jokes in front of a group of Iranian women, all with their, um, uh, they're very reserved, but they were all there, talking to me about enterprises. And the moment you are capable of getting 20, 30, Iranian women, all with the jihad, all very, very respectful. And the moment you can crack a joke and you can see the smiles out of those faces, you know that you got it. You got it. You got all these, rural, remote Iranian entrepreneurs with the first time in a Zoom call with a white male, and you are capable of getting them to accept you and to smile. The first time you can do that, oh my, it's like, whoa, it's a world, of possibilities. So think of the people in front of you as beautiful, and it will really help you.
And everyone is beautiful.
Oh yeah,
world.
absolutely.
Just need to
Absolutely. And if they're not, it's because they've been kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked so hard that they don't trust. It's like having somebody, a dog who is been, chained and bitten, and then the dog will bite everybody. So there are some people who are so angry because they have had such a horrible life. And even with those dogs, the moment you approach every day, you come closer, you bring something to eat, you call them, sweet names. And even they, I remember I did that when I was a 9-year-old. I was 8 when I approached the most furious dog who was chained to this tree and barked, and he was growling at everybody. And it took me something like 3 days. And in 3 days, I was sitting with him. And I just remember this now in a conversation with you. That's my character, probably. I thought that the dog was in pain when he was so angry with me. And I was right. He wasn't barking at me because he wanted to take my head off. He would have taken my head off. But the way the dog was unhappy, that's why. And I came closer, closer, closer every day until at the end I touched him and we became friends.
Now, what you just told is such a beautiful story. My dog, my little dog that I have now, had been abused. And he used, I mean, I really had to work on a lot of things for him to stop biting me. But it was by being his friend that he stayed around. And last year at this time, I thought he was dying. He's an 18-year-old dog. But he came back to life only because he was loved.
Yeah. And there are some people who are dead angry. They are dead angry and they will not let anybody close. And you look at these angry people and you have pity, say, what happened to their beauty? Why are they so angry? And then you discover that when they open up and they tell you what has happened to them, you know, then you say, I understand. I know now why you don't trust anybody. But start with, if you can start with a position of, this is a beautiful person. What has happened to him or to her? Why all this anger? What's behind? I think that we need much more of this kind of understanding because, you know, today the United Nations started with a call for some sort of relaxing our hatred because the world is becoming so divided. People are scared of the anger. What can we do? I think that Conversation for Peace is a very good point to start from. The way you call your organization, you know?
And with that, I have kept you much longer than I had ever expected. So I want to thank you for speaking with me. Don't go anywhere yet. I want you, really thank you. I'm so grateful for this conversation. And I want to thank those who watch. And I also want to thank the Institute of Peace and Rehan, Allahwala, for putting us together for this wonderful, wonderful conversation. And with that, we will wave goodbye and go off air. Ernesto, thank you.
Bye-bye.